Thank you for joining us. It's Monday, August 11th, and we are live with our new show, Monday Night Mandate. Tonight, we are in the Radio Dabang studio with my co host, Jonathan McCullough. He's here with me live in the studio tonight at Radio Dabang. We were on StreamYard prior to this and live on Facebook. But now we have a better quality studio. We've been upgraded. What can I say? God has been good to us.
Sure
I want to
has.
give a special thanks to Mike Kahn for giving us this beautiful opportunity, for blessing us with this opportunity. This has just been, it's so surreal. What do you think, Jonathan?
Yeah, it is. I mean, just last week we were on StreamYard, right? Trying to wrestle with those computers and phones and get the right light. And look, here we are. Look how fast it happened. Special shout out to Mike Kahn for reaching out to us about this opportunity. We certainly appreciate it.
Amen. And if you don't mind, Jonathan, tell the people a little bit about yourself. I'll tell them about me and who I am and what I represent here in just a minute. But just give the people a little insight into who you are and
Okay.
where do you come from?
Oh, well, born and raised in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America, and in the great state of Texas, in this wonderful city that I call home, Houston, born and raised right here in Houston. I'm a son of a pastor who pastored a church for 40 years. I was that hard head. Actually, I was his only son, so I was kind of stubborn. But I never disrespected anything that he was said, simply because I didn't understand. So I grew up in that type of religious environment to where things had to go the way they go.
Oh,
right?
I know all about that.
So but all in all, it was a Christian upbringing. My father was an entrepreneur. My mother was a stay-at-home mom.
Beautiful.
I started off in Catholic school. And then my sister and I were taken out of Catholic school and into public school. That was an interesting transition because the Catholic school, even back then in the 70s, right, were more stable and more, more controlled environment. So I left there to go into public school and been here all my life. I have 6 children. My oldest should be 40 real soon. But that's who I am. Now
Tell us a little bit about your organization
before
we actually
I was
get
going
going.
I was going to kind of get into that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Urban Conservatives of America was founded in 2019. I was given this idea, based on the things that I had been through in my life, and we'll get into that at another time. But
Right.
some of the things that I went through in my life, I learned lessons, and and one of them was a political lesson, and that political lesson was understanding what we vote for and why, right? So, for the most part, the black community has supported the Democrat Party based on feelings and everything but substance, everything but policy. It was all based on feelings. So, through my experience and my awakening, when Donald Trump announced that he would run for president, I got an awakening. It's real, right? So
real.
I really wanted the community to know about my experience and how they can experience the same thing.
Absolutely.
So that led me into starting Urban Conservatives of America. And, of course, Sean Scott was the co-founder. She's no longer the co-founder now, but her and I, for 6.5 years, we were educating the community. Basically, me telling my story and kind of like opening people's eyes to like, hey, you know what? Our community is in the condition that it's in because people are taking us for granted. We're not voting for.
It's literally the choices that we're making.
It's literally the choice. Choices have consequences, just like
Right.
elections have consequences.
Elections have consequences. Yes.
So, I took that show on the road. We started this organization, Urban Conservatives of America, and we're still here. And obviously, you came on later. As a communications director.
Yes, absolutely.
And from communications director, now you are currently a candidate.
I think I started as Midwest communications director. Worked my way up. I started washing the fries and the lettuce, and then I worked my way up.
You worked your way
then
up.
I became the VP of communications, And what's my position now? What am I?
You are currently, I don't know if you still, you know what, I don't know. But I tell you what, we know that you are running for Congress of the 9th District, and your opponent is Al Green. I mean, this is something that we've
never. I guess
never.
you let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, might as well. Everybody know we're not. Listen. We don't. Here's the thing. We're not actually guiding this.
No.
There's something far greater. It's a spirit that's guiding this movement.
It's definitely God.
Because neither one of us are politicians, which is good, because this is what America needs.
Right.
They need ordinary working class people to get involved in deciding how they would like to live their life.
I think we're tired of career politicians. I think Trump being elected shows us that we are sick and tired of career politicians. We learned our lesson. I think the break between Trump's 2 terms, I think, gave us this space for the rest of America to kind of come up and learn what we already know.
Right.
That awakening that you were talking about that you had. I think that little space of experiencing Biden and all of the lies and the foolishness that we've dealt with, the utter destruction of our nation,
right.
The illegals coming in, leapfrogging over individuals who have paid to come into our beautiful, great country. Mm-hmm. But, I just think that, it's just, God has really just led us here. Like, I'm so grateful, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm grateful too. We have so much. We're talking about 65 years of support, and I'm just going to be candid.
Just go ahead.
The black community have supported the Democratic Party, and it has resulted into them having the power that they have today. But that's the point, and we have absolutely nothing to show for it. All we got is entertainers like Jasmine Crockett, Al Green, getting in front of the camera, screaming and hollering, talking about Trump as a racist. But wait a minute, time out. Show me what you've done. Show me the manifestation of your representation. Absolutely. You have nothing to show, and you would dare do that because, listen, what you say don't match, right?
It doesn't.
Nothing. We've never benefited from the Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. So this is some of the stuff that we share with the through Urban Concerns for America.
Absolutely.
When we're canvassing communities, we want people to know, look around. Is this really what we want? Voting is about the cost of living, right? The cost of living and the quality of life. That's what it's about.
It is.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we're not voting for emotions. We're not voting for, the color of someone's skin or because she's a woman or because he's a white man or a black man. No, it's about policy. We get away from.
It's a good subject.
Why
do we vote? Like, we do have some great topics, but I think that this is, what you're talking about right here is very important because so many people have been demoralized through COVID, what we've been seeing with our own eyes, the lies from the media. And, people don't understand why do we vote. And especially like we're talking about the black community, they go in there, and they look at somebody like an Al Green, who I happen to be running against in the 9th Congressional District. Mm-hmm. They look at this person, they see him as a celebrity, and they go in the booth. They don't ask for a Republican ballot. It's sad that they even have to ask for a Republican ballot.
It's a form of voter suppression, actually.
It's like, do you want a whites only ballot or a blacks coloreds ballot? I mean, that's what it's going through my head. It's like, why this segregation?
Right.
If the people recognize the name, it shouldn't matter if Democrat and Republican is on the same ballot. Why should a person have to go in and ask for that? But why do we vote? Why? Could you answer that question?
Well, it's basically what I just laid out. We vote for the quality of life and the cost of living, period. Because most of America has to get up and go to work in the morning.
Right, absolutely.
It doesn't matter what your career is, what your job, what your skill. We all have to get up and go to work and provide for our family.
Right.
Everybody have to buy fuel.
Absolutely.
Everybody have to pay car notes. Everybody have to pay insurance. Yes. Everybody, all of these things are mandatory.
Absolutely.
So why wouldn't the quality of life take precedent over everything else? So it makes you wonder, well, because they don't know or people don't know that it's the quality of life, do they care? Right? What type of quality, what type of quality life are they leading, or do they care at all? Because here's the thing, the Great Society Act, the Great Society Act created this culture of government dependency.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So why would people that depend on the government care about the cost of living?
Because beggars can't be choosers.
that they can't be. Why would they care? Why would they care? And that's really for anybody. I mean, if you're solely relying on government to survive, you don't care nothing about gas prices.
Well, see,
you don't care nothing about grocery prices, right?
That type of codependency that's created that complacency.
Right.
I think,
so this for the most part, this is why people go down and vote the way they vote, because they say, you know what, I don't care. I mean,
the cheese is free over here. I might as well keep on voting for.
I might as well keep on voting for it. But and if that's what you want to do, this is America. By all means, do so. Right, but don't blame me because I'm not voting the way you vote, because I have to get up and I have to go to work and get mine. I have to get up early in the morning and go to work and take care of my business, just like most of Americans have to do. And this is back to President Trump. This is who President Trump is.
Absolutely,
he's here for the working class.
Yes, he
is. We are being oppressed. If you continue to oppress the working class, right, through taxes and overregulation, what will end up happening is we'll be just like the person that don't have to worry about the cost of living. So now you have two classes, right? You have the elite class, and then you have the those that are dependent on the government. So he came to save the working class. It has nothing to do with race, because guess what? Everybody have to go to work. It doesn't matter what color you are. Everybody have responsibilities, right?
I've been seeing that with the sentiment amongst the working class. Like if you go on social media, especially TikTok, this is the place where everybody's posting about how they feel.
Right.
The working class is at a place where they're getting ready to quit their jobs en masse. They are ready to end this rat race of going to work a 9 to 5 every single day, not seeing the blessings and the benefits,
the fruits of their labor,
and the fruits of their labor. Right. It feels like they're working to be free, and they're not free. And then they go and they see somebody with a food stamp card in the line in front of them in the grocery store, buying steaks and lobsters and chips, and knowing that part of their
it did not cost them any labor to get it.
No labor. They're part of their check, this working class individual behind this person that is codependent on the government, that's angering them every single day. And so when they're getting blessings with their food stamp card, you know, they're getting sodas and pops and things that this other person can't afford on their salary, and they make too much to get food stamps.
Right.
So, but they're paying into this person's ability to have that. It angers these people. And see, I don't understand why the elites would provoke the working class in such a way. I don't get it, because they're dependent on the working class.
Right, because the goal is to destroy the working class, right?
That's
okay, you have two people, right? You have the elite class, right? They're not worried about the cost of living, right? They're not worried about the cost of living. And then you have those that are dependent on the government. They're not worried about the cost of living. So who's caught in the middle? It's the working class. People that have to get up and go to work, which is why the big, beautiful bill, a lot of people don't mention this on mainstream radio, the big, beautiful bill, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtime. Imagine that. That's a raise, essentially. That's a raise for somebody to have to go to work. Because you can go to work and work overtime and make $800 or $900, right? Yes. All of that's yours. So that's a raise. That money can be used to pay insurance, a car note, or whatever. But if you go and make $900 in the government tax and then you only bring home $500 of it, and all these extra hours you work, that's cruel.
That's ridiculous.
You know?
Yeah, that's abuse if you think about it, because you worked this long, you only got this many, and it's almost like communism has slowly crept in and we didn't realize how deep we were into communism. Right. Because what's happening is that, I mean, at the end of that, when you don't have any money to take home, it's like you just experienced getting a work credit, you know? And then what do? You know, you still can't get food stamps. You make too much. Right. So what happens at the end of all that for these individuals? So it's like when we say, why do we vote? We vote, like you said, for quality of life.
Right.
Our voting, when we go into that booth and we perform our civic duty as American citizens, we are basically saying, I believe this choice is going to affect not just myself, not just my family, but my community, my city, everybody around me, because we can all come up together and have a better quality of life by making this choice. That's what we're saying. We're not saying I'm making this choice because he gave me free stuff. That's ridiculous. And in
actuality, the more people that go to work, the less crime. You can cut crime if people go to work. Right.
That's a good segue in our next topic.
Right.
Too.
So you have able-bodied people getting benefits from the government. He's cutting that out. People say, "Oh, that's cruel." No, it's not cruel. It's cruel to have people to go to work and watch you spend $1,100.
Have you ever seen somebody in a hard hat get shot by the police?
Never seen it in my life.
Right. Like you want to know why? Because they're going to work.
Because they're going to work. An idle mind is the devil's. Old people used to say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop, and there's so much truth to that. So when you're creating jobs, right, and you're sending people back that are taking these jobs that are not here legally, what you do is create opportunities for those that need jobs here in America. And everybody need a job, right? Because you cannot, obviously, the poor you're going to have what you always. You're going to always have the poor, right? But you don't need to increase the population of the poor.
No.
You understand? You already got you got widows, you got the elderly,
right.
You have veterans, you got disabled veterans.
Yes.
Our tax money should go to these people, not able-bodied people. Because what happens is there's two ways to make a slave, right? Oof. You can work him and don't pay him, which is physical slavery, right? Or you can pay him and tell him he doesn't have to go to work. Now, that's spiritual slavery, because what will happen is he'll become dependent, and he'll depend on the consistency of you paying him, and he'll think he's getting something for nothing. He is getting something for nothing, but he's giving up a lot, right?
But that creates, when these individuals don't have jobs and they have too much time on their hands, it creates this air of desperation in these individuals, which increases their likelihood to commit violent crimes on civilized citizens of our city. I mean, because we'll just focus on locally. Here in Houston, we've got a problem. We've got a crime problem.
We got a crime problem. It's because the Democratic Party, what we're talking about, this is the culture, this is the society that they want to create. Because when they create this society, now they become your superior.
Right.
You will need them. You have to call on daddy government, right? So this is what President Trump is fighting against. He's fighting against this attack from this elitist spirit, right? It's just like in the old days, in the Bible, right? He's fighting to release people from this Pharaoh spirit, right? This is captivity, right? Because what will end up happening is you'll have to do everything that the government says. We don't belong. Listen, America is not that type of country, right? America is the greatest country in the world. And let me be very clear. Everybody here came from government dependency. They hail from government dependency, which is what inspired the people to leave and explore and come to America and create this society, because they were sick and tired of being oppressed by the government. So now, just because, like I said, America is the greatest country in the world. So being that it is, that does not mean that we have to stop fighting to keep it that way. We must. The fight continues, because listen, freedom is not free. We have to fight, and we have to get out our feelings. It's not about our ethnicities. It's not about our genders. It's not about any of that. It's about the cost of living, right?
Right.
And the quality of life.
That brings me to this morning. I was watching, Trump had a press conference, and he was cracking down on crime. He was focusing first on Washington, D.C., because he has the authority to do so. And what I love about Trump is that he knows where his authority is, and he takes full advantage of that.
Right.
When you're in a place where people have not been utilizing their authority, it looks like you're being mean or you're being too harsh when authority starts stepping in and you start cracking down on law and order. And so this entire press conference was about law and order, which is really along the same lines as our campaign.
Right.
We were just talking about,
the drive-by bill,
right?
Something that you wanted to implement if you got into a resolution that she wanted to introduce if she's elected to Congress. It's called a drive-by bill.
I'm elected to Congress.
Right on. I feel that. When she's elected to Congress. Now, let's explain some of the basic aspects of that bill.
Right.
And what she's talking about is anybody that fires a gun out of a car into a dwelling, a home, or another car, even road rage, right, would fall under that. Because what we're dealing with right now, we're dealing with local Democrat cities that are creating this hostile, violent environment.
Creating domestic
They're creating. All you have to do is not hold people accountable.
Right.
Humans are creatures of habit. If you do not hold them accountable, they will get out of control.
Right.
People have
domestic terrorism.
It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic to believe that humans they have to have correction.
They do.
That there has to be a standard. So what you do is the Democrat, these major cities, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Miami, all of these, Memphis, all Atlanta, all of these cities, and even Houston, of course, all of these cities are ran by the Democrat Party. Look at them. If you've ever been in any of these cities, just look at them. They're ran by the Democratic Party, and they're very dangerous.
And you see that the modus operandi in these Democrat-run cities, I mean, this is why local elections are very important.
They're very important.
You see that they all tend to have this same kind of modus operandi. Defund the police. The morale amongst their
they're all in
officers
lockstep.
is very low. No cash bail, PR bonds. You see this same type of thing happening in these heavy populated cities, right? And so we're experiencing that here in Houston. So what you're doing is you're putting these individuals, malicious, vengeful, evil criminals, back on the streets because you really don't have enough room to house them. There's not enough resources. And also, it's just too populated at times because the police force, the morale is very low amongst them. We're not supporting our police as we should. And so they're saying in some spots in Houston, it's like a 3-hour police response time. And so today, we saw as Trump had a press conference and he addressed, like, the entire topic was law and order. It was Trump, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. I mean,
right.
I love the unity.
Right.
I love how they stood so strong there. I love how Trump drove the point home. He said, and this was a quote from his own father. He said his father had told him that if you ever go to a restaurant and it's not clean around the front door, don't you go in that restaurant. Because if the front door is dirty, don't even worry about what's in the rest of the place.
That's a great point.
And so by him saying that, because he said he himself has been getting complaints about the Capitol. The Capitol is in terrible shape. Ever since BLM came in and changed that road to BLM Boulevard over there by the White House, it just looks atrocious. It's trashy.
It's also a very dangerous city.
It's
a very dangerous city
for the size that it is.
Right.
It's extremely dangerous.
It's very congested.
Yes.
Very urban, and it's very dangerous.
This is a place where people from all around the country,
all around the world.
The museums are free.
Right, all around the world.
You can go to the museums for free there. But who wants to go?
Right.
Who is drawn to go to this place and walk around these monuments and these beautiful things that represent our beautiful nation? And if you're going to get mugged on your way up there, it's dangerous.
Right. And let me tell you, you got millions of people that are Democrat and they vote Democrat because this is what they've done over the years. But I can tell you, you have to. We're all Americans, so we have to find common ground. Now, you can't tell me that nobody, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, nobody can tell me that they don't like public safety. They don't believe that public safety is important. Right. Our children go to the bus stops, they go to the water parks, they go everywhere, right? They deserve the security that they get. That's America's future.
Absolutely.
Our children are precious. Public safety is very important. You have the elderly. So law and order is important. The party of law and order, why would you not support the party of law and order when your own safety is at risk, right? If you don't.
But what is the priority of the Democrats if Trump is standing up here? See, this is the thing. He's standing up here. He's driving the point home about crime and wanting it to be. This is a simple, common sense thing. Why is the left accusing him of federalizing the police force?
Well, the reason why they're doing that is because most of the people believe everything that they hear on television.
That part.
Now the television is another arm of the Democrat Party.
Right, it is.
Yeah, and millions of people actually believe. Millions of people actually believe your Jasmine Crockett's of the world. Your Al Greens of the world, you can name a few others, but many people believe that these people are actually serious. But these people are getting in front of these cameras, right, and sell this idea. He's racist, he's mean, yada yada yada, and people actually buy that. Yes, so they will continue to sell it if people will continue to buy it. That's the name of the game, and this is the purpose of our show, to kind of like bring people. Let's get back to common sense, right? Let's think about the safety of our children. Let's think about making good money and not being overtaxed. Let's think about someday that maybe property tax will be something that's in the past. Ooh. Let's think about these things. This is what will liberate the working class. Most people know that you have to get up and go to work. Those that do go to work know that you have to get up and go to work and take care of your family. So being that you have to do that, doesn't it make sense, right, that you enjoy the fruits of your labor? And it doesn't matter how much you make. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic category.
Right.
Everybody that get up and go to work ought to be able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. And there's nothing wrong with that.
The life, liberty,
and the pursuit of happiness
is a right of every
It
American here.
It is.
And this is what people used to come and travel here for. This is what they used to immigrate to America for. But my question is this, there's places in Houston that are worse than Guatemala. Okay.
Right.
There's places in America that are worse than these places that people are fleeing from.
Right.
We want to bring our country into a place because we're free here. We're supposed to be free. I mean, we learned that we weren't as free as we thought we were during COVID.
Okay, a lot of people see freedom as in a physical term, right? That they don't understand that freedom has many branches to freedom, right? You got social freedom, you got economic freedom,
right?
You got freedom. It many variations,
right?
But most people, their mindset when you say freedom, it means I can just do what I want to do. Well, yeah, but that's the basics. But
you see, the thing is that kind of a mindset. I can just do what I want to do. A lot of people want to do things that are not good, right? And so it's like, when they think freedom, they're thinking, I can just get to America and cut up and do whatever I want. What does that even mean? Like, our founding fathers, they came here because they wanted to worship God freely, outside of the Anglican Church, outside of being forced and told how to worship, what to say, what to think, right? This was their motive, right? And they wanted to come here, worship God freely, explore their relationship with Christ the way that they wanted to, right? And of course, when they got here, there were many snares, many things that occurred, on their journey. In this project called America, right? They experienced a lot of things, but freedom of religion, right, is a beautiful, beautiful right that we have, that even God has given us. We're born with this right to freely express ourselves to our Creator.
Right. And that just shows you how precious, our freedom is and how important it is to protect it.
Yes.
Now, obviously, we have enemies internationally, but they're not our problem.
No.
Our problems are domestic enemies. We have enemies that are American born. And I'm telling you, that is the Democrat Party.
And see, they're also radicalizing domestic terrorists. When you are not punishing criminals for shooting out from their car into a home, and they don't know if their enemy is in there or not, they're shooting up this person's mother's home.
It doesn't matter who they hit. They don't care.
They don't care.
It's a body to them.
And then end up killing somebody's baby that's sleeping in the bed.
Right. That's unacceptable on American soil.
I would rather lose a criminal than another child.
I second that.
I'd rather lose a criminal than an innocent victim. I think it's time that we start, that there has to be an adult in the room.
We have to hold them responsible, hold them accountable.
They have to be made examples of.
They have to be made examples.
And I don't care, because once you start saying, hey, I mean business, people start getting in line.
And they know that. That's why they don't do that.
That's exactly why they don't do it.
They know that. That's why they don't do that.
It's part of the plan.
It's part of the plan. So yes, it's a tough road, but we have to hold the line.
Right. We don't have freedom to kill. We do not have freedom to murder as we please.
No. We don't have that. And all those that do should be held accountable to the full extent of the law, because of the importance of public safety.
That's right.
A child's life is precious. And whatever you're going through or whatever you're feeling at that moment when you want to go out and be enraged and open the gun and fire, no, you're gonna be responsible for that, And because here's the thing, they don't want to hold. See, as you were just saying, these people don't want to hold these people accountable. In which what happens is, and I'm talking about the Democrats, the Democrat judges in Harris County, and these cheap bails letting violent criminals out. Listen, when they don't hold them accountable, you're cultivating this criminality. You're cultivating this violent culture. It has to be intentional.
It has to be.
It's obviously intentional, right? Because if it happened to you or one of your family members, I bet you would hold them accountable.
Justice quickly.
Yeah, you would want swift justice.
And you'd be angry if somebody was lobbying to get the person that killed
right, and that goes
you loved out of prison.
Correct, and that goes back to what Trump is doing.
Right.
Washington D.C. is the same way.
Right.
It's a liberal stronghold, and they let criminals do what they want to do, and they don't hold them accountable so that they can continue to do what they want them to do.
That's right.
Because you're trying to create this violent culture, this defiant culture. Right, in that particular area. That's so correct. You have to override, right, the local officials and bring in the feds. Now, what he's doing is very courageous and it's very wise. Well, but everybody, right, should think about, when crime get out of control, look to the feds. Right. Because these people, these local people that are in charge, these people, it's almost like they're being paid to do what they're doing, right? To drop the ball or look the other way. It's a game.
But they were. See, that's why Trump came in and addressed the money situation. He realized that what they were doing was keeping these areas destabilized on purpose so they can continue to get grants for the government. That's why he came after the money, doged that first, and now you see he's addressing the law and order. He stopped in that order of money into the sewage.
Right.
It was a money pit. The money was never going to stop being poured out. You can never address our issues if that money's it's like a hole in your wallet,
Right.
You keep putting money in, it keeps falling out the other side, and that's what was going on. You see, he addressed that first. Then now he's coming in, leg two. Now we're addressing law and order. So he is setting the example. He is setting the stage.
He's following his plan.
And instead of impeaching him, Al Green, you should be saying, you know what, District 9 needs a lot of help.
Right.
I should be talking to Trump and saying, how can I do what he's doing there here in my district to make things safer for the constituents?
By the way, what has he done in his district for the last 21 years significant? What has he done? Is there anything that is related?
Signed some autographs.
Signed some autographs. Anything that's relative to his constituents? Anything significant? No, none at all. But I tell you, good luck to you in that.
Thank you.
God has got this. I'm honored to be a part of your campaign. I'm honored to be the campaign manager of your campaign. This is something that I love doing. I love
like
to
Trump
serve.
said, you're fired. No, just kidding.
Yeah, okay. I love to serve, right? And let's get to that. A politician, or someone that runs, a candidate that runs and wins a seat for Congress or whatever seat you got, city council, whatever. These people are servants.
Yes.
As those of us that vote for them, we're not voting for our kings and queens. Okay? Let's get that straight. These people work for us.
That's right.
Right? And at any time you don't see changes being made or differences being made, you have the choice to oust them.
That's right.
So that's just another thing that people need to know. And I know you're a servant. You have a servant's heart.
Yes.
I have a servant's heart. I wouldn't be fooling with you if you didn't have a servant's heart.
That's why God
You'd
put
be
us together.
fired. You're fired.
I fire him from the campaign. He fires me from UCA. I guess we be even.
Yeah,
Good thing we're
be
not
even.
petty and miserable like that. We would
Right.
never do that. We're friends.
Right.
God has joined what God has joined together. Let no man tear asunder. I know they
Amen.
talk about that in marriage, but we're
Amen.
we work together. We just God is really putting together a team of individuals that truly seek out God, truly. Believe in what we are doing and believe this is a move that we are endowed to do. This is not seeking for a title or seeking to be great in people's eyes or trying to be some celebrity. Because I promise you, if I wanted to be a celebrity, it wouldn't be in politics. It
Right.
wouldn't.
Right. Let me ask you this. What's the first thing that you want to do when you are elected to Congress, the 9th District of Texas? What are one of the first things that you'd like to do?
Ooh.
In terms of policy.
Right. I just think it's important to establish law and order. I think that's one of the biggest issues that we're dealing with in Houston. I think that we can do some things simultaneously, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that we can hit law and order, like work on communication between all of the systems that are going on here. But I also would love to start talking about this pathway to trust that I'm very excited about, because
Right.
I think that there's two parts to criminality, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got to deal with this part of the actual criminals who need to be prosecuted, who need to be held liable for their crimes. That's very vital, and that's an important part of law and order. But then you have to deal with those who are not who are not bound by the recidivism. They're not going in and out of jail. They have paid their debt to society. They're trying to work on getting their life together, but it's like everything against them because they're a felon is holding things against them.
That's
so
beautiful.
I want to work on both of those things simultaneously because you have to have a balance, right? You can't just say, oh, criminals, 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 but you also have to focus on these
People
individuals.
change.
They change. You
That's
have to think about that. This is America. We're the land of a million chances. You can start your life over here. We are that place, right? We believe in giving people chances. Look at our president. You know, he has been through a lot in his life. His life has literally played before us like a movie. Right. Not a lot of stuff though, because there's some great things he's done behind the scenes that nobody knows about, right? But so we believe in giving second chances. So with this pathway to trust, what we want to do is for individuals that have paid their debt to society, I want to see them having their full American benefits, regaining the trust of their community, also being able to get a job without having felon as this glaring scarlet letter on their background. You know, we want to give people a hand up. We see Trump is pardoning people. And so what I want to do is work with Trump in every aspect of what he's doing for our country and bring that to the local level, because he said we're going to be living in a golden era. These people that are like in my district, District 9, they don't know what a golden era is. When they hear that, it sounds like some white man talking again, right?
Right.
But we need to be able to bring that down to their level, simplify it, help them to understand and say, this is how I utilize this Trump policy in the big, beautiful bill to bring you X, Y, and Z. Right. So that, and then their life is going to be a reflection of these beautiful bills and policies and legislation that were drawn forth, because now they're going to say, you know what? I haven't had this much money in my pocket. What's going on? You know, they're not even, it's going to hit them one day, and they're going to say, this change has occurred.
Right. I find it, that's a beautiful, beautiful, aspiration that you have for one of the first things that you want to do when you enter Congress, because that affects me. Right. I'm a felon, right?
Yes,
but by way of my drug addiction, I landed in prison and got a felony and all of that good stuff. But I'm a testimony to everything you just said.
That's right.
Everything you just, here I am on a show talking about policy, right?
You're in America.
In America.
You yourself just admitted that you had a felony, right?
Right.
God gave you a second chance.
God gave me a second chance.
This is America.
This is
land
America.
Of opportunity.
This is the land of opportunity and the land of second and third chances.
I'm telling you.
Because guess what? I mean, if you're going to let immigrants come here that you don't bet, right? Immigrants that you have no idea what they've done in their country, in Mexico and South America. You have no idea what these people have done.
Ever.
Right? And then later on prove that most of them were in prison and were released from prison to come over here. But you're going to do your American citizens like the way you do? Right. But yet you can let people come here unvetted. You have no idea who these people are and let them start a new life. Well, why can't that privilege be afforded to those that were born in it?
Right. You know, I was thinking about, I hate to bring this movie up, but remember that movie Scarface? And at the very beginning of the movie, they literally started a riot, killed some people, right? And then they end up in America selling dope, right? Not vetted. These individuals came over to this country, and it's actually a true story, because there's a book, based on this. But I think about that from time to time, and how we see all these individuals that were just and it was all able-bodied men for the most part. I would say more than 60% were able-bodied men, right? And we know on a statistical scale, there's more women than men in the globe, right? But for some reason, over our border and over our southern border, we had all these able-bodied men coming over here, sneaking across our border, It was like we were being invaded. And Biden actually allowed this to happen. So if we will let people do that, we'll just let them come up. We don't know if they've killed somebody before they came here. We don't know what.
And don't even care.
We don't care. We're just saying, they can pick our crops because we need slaves. That's what they're saying. And, we're let them come on over here. They can pick our blueberries because you don't want to do that, do you? You've been saying you don't like it, you know? We're not going to make you do that anymore. We're going to make these other brown people do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what they're saying.
That's the mentality.
Them out
that's
on
the
this.
mentality. That's the mentality. That's what they're saying. You nailed it. I mean, so if you're doing all that for these people, why can't you do it for people that you know?
Right.
You know these people.
Right.
These people were born here.
Right. We're born here.
You
We
got a record of
birth
everybody.
certificates.
We got it all.
You can't even barely get a driver's license as a citizen
Oh,
here.
you got to jump through hoops to get a driver's license. An American-born citizen has to jump through hoops to get a driver's license. I mean, I'm telling you, we're going to need this. No, that's not enough. You got to bring this paper. You got to get this.
When I saw these people, they came over the border, right? They claimed they were getting asylum. They put them on planes. They didn't have an ID. They didn't have to have the little star, the real ID like we got to have, you know. They didn't have any of this. They literally had an arrest warrant or a court document, and this is how they were getting on planes. Try that in TSA. Say, oh, yeah, I just got arrested yesterday. Here, take that instead of a star on my ID. Yeah, you ain't getting on a plane.
Right. You're not getting on the plane.
No, sir. So they ended up having more benefits and rights than American citizens had. And people are saying, you know, and it's interesting seeing the left so up in arms about, you know, ICE doing their job, right? They're defending these people who leapt over individuals waiting on their citizenship, waiting to get into this glorious country. And they turned around. They gave them all of these benefits. They let them come in. They given them planes. They given them food, giving them this, that, and the third. You know, it was like they were trying to cause a civil war.
Right, and it wouldn't surprise me. People that's trying to get, create a criminal society. Why wouldn't they be trying to start a civil war? So let me make this point very clear, though.
I was going to ask you a question here.
There's a difference between illegal immigration and legal immigration.
Yeah, there's a huge difference.
That's a huge difference.
Right.
That's right. People that go through the naturalization process, these are your true Americans.
Whether
people
it's a
that hop the fence, whatever that is,
green card lottery,
right,
whatever they do nowadays. That's
right. It's
legal.
The same principle apply. Let me tell you something. If listen, you cannot come in my house without an invitation.
Hello.
Okay? And you certainly can't come in if I can't bet you.
Ooh.
Are you kidding me?
No.
The same principle will apply here.
Right.
It doesn't have anything to do with him hating the people on the other side. It's because he loves the people on the inside.
Right.
That's the bottom line. It has nothing to do with hate.
And that's America First.
What was that
policy.
question you wanted to ask me?
So I wanted to ask you a question since we're kind of talking about this a little bit. I want to ask you, do you think America is in great hands under the Trump administration?
I absolutely do. And why I believe that is because he understands what we understand. Everything that we're discussing,
yes,
he knows.
Yeah, he does.
So we're basically all on the same page. But he's in power to do something about it. So yes, because if I was in power, what he's doing now, I'd be doing the same thing. Right. And I wouldn't care what you called me, right?
Right.
You know, you got people, he's racist. This is the game. He's not any of that.
Racist
right?
is not
There's
the
nothing
worst
wrong.
thing you can be called.
Let me tell you something. At some point, the common man should say, wait a minute, they use that race card too much.
Right.
Right? They use it too much. But it's effective. That's why they continue to use it. So here's the thing. Let me finish answering your question now.
Yeah.
He's the greatest to me, in my opinion, and many other opinions, right? What echo these sentiments.
Right.
The greatest president in the history of America.
I agree.
Right? Because, listen, the right man at the right time for the right reason.
Absolutely.
It's just that simple. The right man at the right time for the right reason. If he was not worth anything, the television would be glorifying him.
Right. They'd be talking good things about this
The fact that he's worth something, they have to go on this 10-year tirade about how bad he is.
You know what?
And people actually believe it.
Republicans need to learn that being called a racist is not the worst name you could be called.
Why you say that?
Because I've noticed that when certain like conservatives and Republicans, when it's implied that they're racist or the race issue gets brought up, they quiet up really, like they don't want to talk about it really. It's like they're afraid to be just blunt and say, you know, I don't care if you call me a bigot. Everybody's bigoted. Everybody in some way or some form or fashion is prejudiced in some way. I am not a racist.
But that doesn't mean they hate.
Right. Right. It doesn't mean you hate anybody.
Right.
It doesn't mean you hate, but somebody calls me a racist, I'm going to be like, okay. And I'm going to carry on with what I'm saying.
Listen. The people that use the word the most are the racists.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay? And I want to set the record straight. This notion that the party switch is absurd. Let me be clear. People change directions. Directions don't change people. Okay? People change directions. The left has always been the left, and they will always be the left. The right has always been the right, and they will always be the right. People leave one side and come to another side, but the principles of both parties have been the same since day one. I just want to set that record straight.
I would just say that the thing that the left has changed, it wasn't switching parties, because no Republican would have ever called themselves a Democrat and vice versa.
Right.
They would never have done that. But I think one of the evidences of the fact that there was never a party switch is Joe Biden. You've got this Democrat who has been a Democrat the entire time. He fought against integration. He did not want blacks and whites going to school together.
He said that. He said it on the record.
He said it would cause his children to grow up
in a racial jungle. I remember that. I remember that statement he made.
He also, his mentor, and this man he loved and wept sorely at his funeral, Robert Byrd, who was
Obama was there too now.
Obama was there, but Obama didn't eulogize this man.
Right. He attended, right.
You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to attend,
But it's another thing to eulogize.
Because I believe in giving people a second chance. I've been friends with an ex-KKK member before,
Right.
And, also been under a pastor, an associate pastor that was a former racist. So, I give people second chances. So it's not about that, okay? It's about the principle, right? Because the left always cries racism, but they are hypocrites, because their very own precious Joe Biden eulogized a KKK member who only unaffiliated himself.
But the television hadn't told anybody that, and so nobody believes it.
Right, because they didn't.
Which is why you're saying it. But go ahead. Which is why you're saying it. Go ahead.
The only reason he chose not to affiliate himself with the KKK was because it was a conflict of interest for his political career.
Right.
That was it.
He
never changed how he talked about blacks. He never changed it. That's why Joe Biden is the example that the parties never switched. He is their shining example. This is why he called blacks colored. This is why Obama was the first good-smelling black man he's ever seen that could dress nice and spoke in such an articulate way. This is why he says
these
those
are
things.
Words that he said.
These are words racists say,
Right. You got to catch it, though. Here's the thing. In order to know if your intelligence is being insulted, you would have to be intelligent yourself.
Right.
If you're not intelligent, you'll never know when your intelligence is being... And this is the position they take, right? This is why Martin Luther King said a mind is a terrible thing to waste, because he knew what the play was.
Right. He knew.
Right?
Right.
You were going to try to exploit those that you believe are not as intelligent as you are.
That's right.
I mean, people grow up in different cultures.
Right.
That does not mean that you're better or more smarter. It means that you know more about a said culture than that person does, right? But if you fail to teach them, you can exploit them, right? As though that they are unintelligent. And this is the game that... And I call it's soft bigotry. It's bigotry. It's racist,
and
right?
It's
all coming from the left.
It's the racism of low expectations,
right?
And see, because they've had such an effect on our education, they know they've dumbed the people down.
They know this.
They know.
So
because they know that, they know that they can say certain things that will go zoom right over your head.
Right. As I said, in order to know if your intelligence is being insulted, you would have to be intelligent yourself. I want to say something off topic, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
I want to say this to the camera.
We got about 8 minutes left.
Really, children, I want to say this, and this is non-political. I do want to say this to all children, teenagers. Let me tell you something. Listen to your parents. Please listen to your parents. Listen to your parents. We live in a cruel world. Most parents that are stern, you might call them mean. No, they're not mean. The world is mean.
They know what's best for you.
They know what's best. Listen to your parents so that your days may be long on this earth. I just wanted to say this. It came across, in my heart. And I just want to say this to all children out there. Please listen to your parents, okay?
Yes.
They know what's best for you. This is a very, very dangerous, cruel world that we live in, and it's incumbent that you listen to your parents.
I was thinking earlier. I had seen something on the news. 3 people were killed. I think it was at a Walmart or something in Austin, Texas today.
Right, there
And
was.
I think about these types of situations that occur. How many parents told their teenager, "No, I don't want you leaving. I want you to clean the house instead." And that teenager was so ticked off and mad. I'm not listening. I'm not
And
doing
went
that.
anyway.
And went anyway, right? And they get into these situations that they're not ready for, and they're exposed to so much out here. And they say that we are on this great information overload where literally information is doubling at the rate of per second because of AI. So we are at this quantum level with our technology and our information that whereas maybe a couple years we were 4D, now we're 8D, 16D. Like we're so overloaded with information right now. So much is being given to us at any one time in each news cycle or each just cycle. Our youth are at risk. And parents, that have to work and then also have to, make sure that their kids are doing what they're trying to raise their kids. It's important that we come together as a community. Like we're local right now. We're in Houston.
Right.
Houston children and teenagers, please listen to your parents. This is wise wisdom from people who, Jonathan, you started talking about how you were kind of bad.
Yeah, I was a hard head. I was a hard head in church. I was a hard head.
I was too.
But because it's what it is, my father was so passionate about wanting me to learn what he knew.
Yes.
Right? So it was almost like he took the power from God. Sometimes and religious people do that a lot.
Right.
A lot of times you have to let go.
Let
They
go.
say that a lot.
They say
right?
it.
They say that a lot.
Say
Let
it
go
and
and
doing
let
it.
God.
Yeah.
Saying and doing it is 2 different things, right? Now, not to say that the love was perfect.
Yes.
But sometimes it's called overreach.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Sometimes if we truly trust the God that we say that's got it all in his hands, if we
Right.
truly trust him, sit back.
I think
Let
that's
him
the
take that
hardest
walk. Let him
thing
take
to
that
do
journey.
for
It is
all
hard as a
religious
parent because I'm a
people,
parent.
to let go, let God, surrender to God. I think surrender is the hardest thing for humans.
That's the hardest thing to do. It's the easiest thing to say. Right.
And
right.
lie about.
Right, but it's the hardest thing to do. So
we got a couple minutes left.
did we,
Just a few minutes. Say something.
say something. No. Let me tell you something. Like I said, we're excited about this journey. We're excited about coming here at Radio Dabang. We had our show. It's actually our 2nd episode, and this is our 3rd episode, and it's in the studio, and it'll be here from here on out. So
Shout out to Mike Kahn.
Shout out to Mike Kahn. Shout out to the whole team. Shout out to the Alex Butler team, Carrie Butler, Derek Hopes,
Yep.
Justin Shiro, Alexandria Butler, Tim Murphy, the whole crew. The whole crew. The LaPorte team, the Baytown team. Shout out to everybody at the Moon. Thank you guys. We're doing this, y'all, and we're doing it for the American people. We're doing it for the American people. The time has come. We have to seize this opportunity to take our country back.
That's right.
Take our freedom back.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And absolutely live in peace.
Well, know what our freedoms are.
Well, that's why we had this show. We're going to teach them what freedom is.
That's what that education is
that's
for.
Basically, that's what the education is for. But, and let everybody live in peace. We have to find common ground because everybody's not going to believe what other people believe. But here's common ground that we all want. We want better schools.
Oh, yeah.
We want safe communities. And we want criminals held accountable so that we can maintain safe communities.
That's right.
That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was taking a drink. A little product placement. I guess this is a little carbonated energy drink from Pakistan. Love Pakistan. Hi, shout out to all of our listeners in Pakistan. I've got some good friends in Islamabad. God bless you.
Amen.
I love people from all over the globe. We embrace cultures. We embrace everybody. That's just the American way, right?
Right.
That's our thing.
What we got coming up?
Let's see. I was actually trying to think of that when I was talking. So what do we have coming up? Tomorrow I wouldn't call that an event, so I'm not going to speak on it.
Right, don't.
You have to say it like that. We've got a few things going on. Just stay tuned. If you check us out on Facebook, I'm Alexandria, the Alex Butler campaign. You can check us out there. You can check out Jonathan McCullough.
I'll tell you what, everybody follow Radio Dabang.
Oh,
Follow Radio Dabang
Definitely plug Radio
99.5.
Dabang.
Steve Kahn,
Mike
Kahn, I'm sorry, is who gave us this opportunity, and we certainly appreciate him for that. Like I said, this is our first time in the studio with Monday Night Mandate. We didn't even have a script. We kind of went impromptu, so thank you guys.
We always
we always do it that way. We don't follow a script anyway. We're not scripted people. Not at all. So so thank you guys. Those that tuned in, I'm gonna let you close. This is your it's your show.
Okay, no, seriously though, how many candidates running have a show?
Right.
Hosting any show in America.
That's a blessing.
And then how many?
That's a blessing. Oh, we're gonna have guests too.
Conservatives.
Right.
How many black conservatives are hosting in Houston?
Right. None. Zero. Everybody's on the internet, and you're in the studio.
Right.
So listen, let everybody know that we're gonna be inviting guests.
Oh yeah. So we will be having guests. If you're interested in being a guest, reach out to me on Facebook or reach out to my campaign manager, Jonathan McCullough. We're free. We're open book. If you have any questions that maybe you want us to address on the air, go ahead and send us a message. We don't mind. We're reachable. We're not unreachable. We're not here to sign autographs and do anything like that. We're not celebrity status or anything like that.
And not trying to be either.
Not trying to be. I've always hated titles anyway. But again,
we're gonna be here every Monday, y'all. Every Monday at 8:00 Central Time. We're gonna be here
every Monday.
Monday Night Mandate is here in the studio.
Real quick, let me give my website to my campaign.
Sure.
AlexandriaButlerCampaign.org. I am running for the Congressional District 9 here in Houston, Texas, against Al Green. And, God has just been leading us every step of the way. And today you've been listening to Radio Dabang Presents Monday Night Mandate. And so, this is, like you said, our first night in studio. We got a little new setup. We got the little downtown background behind us, looking good today.
Looking good.
I really like the show. I'm really happy about that. But yeah, so if you want to message us, just message us. God has been good to us, and sometimes we're nice, but mostly we're kind. So
well, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next Monday at 8 Central Standard Time. Monday Night Mandate. Alexandria Butler, the host. I'm the co-host. She's just supposed to say that.
I was going to.
Do your thing.
I'm your host tonight on Monday Night Mandate, Alexandria Butler, and this is my wonderful co-host, Jonathan McCullough Sr. We just want to thank you guys for joining us tonight, and see you next time. God bless you.